2 days after these towers literally disappeared, and the BBC think that they know how it happened. Compare that with this 500-page, 800-colour photograph book, which is 5 years of research from a professor of mechanical engineering, Dr. Judy Wood. Which one are you going to believe, folks?
If I bang my fist against this wall, there's probably 200 people in this room that see a man bang the fist on the wall.
I know which one I believe, so we'll just get rid of this
out
of the way. Okay. Now,
imagine you've got a situation where there's 5 people walking down the street, a burglar comes out of a house and he's got a bag of jewellery and he's running down the street. People get the descriptions wrong, what he was wearing, colours, heights, ages, completely all wrong. But what they will get, 5 independent witnesses who don't know each other, man running down the street with a bag.
I said to him, well, how did the towers turn to dust, Simon? Are the towers still there, or did they indeed turn to dust? And he said, you know, and I did say to him, you know, I went to New York in 2008, I filmed the towers not being there with my own camera. I know they're not there, you know, because I've been there. And I filmed them not being there. And but he said he wanted to believe that they would take them down by controlled demolition. Yeah. So in other words, he'd gone to belief. For the controlled demolition, he'd gone to belief. It didn't matter about the evidence.
And there are cases when the MOD has quite seriously, you know, researched, investigated, and not been able to explain all this away. And that's something that I think, to be fair, a lot of journalists and producers probably didn't know. Arguably, they should have known.
And for him to say that we were a part of a militant wing, I was personally offended by that.
So he described the Exopolitics UK movement as the militant wing of ufology.
It's no secret that MOD's long-standing policy was and still is to downplay the UFO phenomenon.
So for him to say that, I personally took that as an insult, because I'm certainly not militant and far from it, because I think the way to portray this subject is to talk about the evidence, and that's all I actually do, Nick.
That would make me the militant wing of the militant wing.
It would.
The MOD press office, in responding to UFO stories, would often say in a rather sneering way, well, if people do want to believe in flying saucers, that is, of course, their own prerogative. And they would deliberately get the word flying saucer into the little quote, and little green men, too, if they could, just to make the whole story seem faintly ridiculous.
The press is extremely important. When it's not working and things are not happening the way they should be, the process breaks down, and as a result, advocacy cannot proceed. So with that in mind, I would like to say this, if I may, to the British press. Hack my phone.
And as for the swine flu jab, of course, I think we all know that this was a massive scam. Is anybody here who thinks that it wasn't a scam, that there was indeed a genuine swine flu outbreak? I know Nick does. Nick's hand will go up when I say who thinks 9/11 wasn't an inside job. How many people think 7/7 occurred exactly as per the narrative? That's my case.
I am actually emigrating to the United States either later this month or next month.
Because we might like to think that we are highly advanced spiritual beings, but I think in a lot of ways we are monkeys with computers. And getting up close and personal with us is like getting into a cage with a lion.
So yeah, the winner of the British Exopolitics UK Award for 2011. And the international...
Farmers didn't witness it, and now I'm trying to get them on board so that we can all then...
Well, the day that any Welsh farmer wakes up, and we've met a lot of them, that'll be the day.
The reason they gave for not showing pictures of the dead bin Laden was it might cause Al-Qaeda to carry out a revenge attack. It might threaten national security. I've never heard such a stinking crock of shit in all my life.
In the end of the experiment, what they did was they hooked him up directly to his pleasure centre. So what you could do is essentially by pressing this button, you'd stimulate your pleasure centre and it would put him into sort of akin to an orgasmic state, like a sort of high euphoric state.
Why then did they show pictures of Saddam Hussein after his death? And why did they show the mangled faces of his two sons after they were murdered, both before and after makeup?
And the problem was that essentially after about 3 hours, they had to physically wrench this guy off the programme because he just decided... Well, in 3 hours, he pressed his button 1,500 times.
As I said to my mother the other day, if I were to enter an establishment and be offered a copy of the Daily Mail to read, I would be less offended than if someone served me a plate of dog shit in a restaurant.
Leaving himself in a state of almost complete euphoria.
You won't catch me at the Olympics. The opening ceremony will include, inside the Olympic Stadium, a mock-up of English rural life, including 12 horses, 3 cows, 2 goats, 10 chickens, 10 ducks, 9 geese, 70 sheep and 3 sheepdogs.
It's interesting you say that because basically this was based on an experiment that had previously been done on rats by a chap called James Olds, and essentially what he'd done is given these rats the opportunity to press this button which would stimulate
so the rat could stimulate this thing itself?
Yeah.
Or pressing a button with its nose or something?
Yeah, exactly like that.
A few weeks ago they unveiled a scale model of the set. I thought it was an old set from Michael Bentine's Potty Time, which was a great show.
What he found was basically every single one of these rats dehydrated or starved themselves to death because of a fixation on self-abuse.
I'm trying to do a report on the Khyber Pass.
Oh, first class. You couldn't have come to a better place.
Why is that, sir?
Well, I mean, this is the Khyber Pass.
A rat, like, orgasmic itself to death.
This allowed for the funding to try it on humans.
Right, right, all right. So when will they be available in the shops?
Colonel
Potterton. Colonel Potterton.
Yes.
Known all over the northwest frontier as Potty Potterton.
Yes, I'm sure. Who exactly are you fighting, sir?
Who are we fighting? Did you hear that from a dime maker? Who are we fighting? I did, sir, Colonel. Oh, that's very, very highly fun-making. Who are we fighting?
Yes. Well, who exactly
did you
are
hear
you
that,
fighting?
Oh, jolly good. Who are we fighting? Do you hear that? We said, who are we fighting?
Yes.
Who are we fighting?
Very good. Yes, I'm sure.
Very good.
Yes. Who exactly are you fighting?
Yes, indeed. Who are we fighting, sir? This is a very good question, of course. Who are we fighting? Like I say, you need some kind of environmental and air control system, perhaps something similar that's used on a submarine. Now, here's our space vehicle that I've just designed. Now, that vehicle would probably cost you maybe, I don't know, a few tens of thousands of pounds to build, but that would go in orbit and it would keep you alive for just very little money. The point I'm trying to make is the difficult bit in space travel and in space vehicles is getting into space. There's a few questions after this that I want to ask about these gibbons. Now, anyone wonder what happened to the old Wembley Stadium? I'm not saying that Wembley Stadium is in orbit around the Earth. What I'm saying is that I believe that they have the technology to be able to do that if they so wished. Okay, because as long as you've got enough of these anti-gravity discs and have them in a big array, then you could raise that into space.
We wrote some lyrics like, we wrote one song called Adolf Wasn't That Bad.
People forget, why did George Michael fall off the face of the earth? Why did the Dixie Chicks fall off the face of the earth? Do you want to know why? Because they started talking about 9/11.
Why did Michael Jackson literally fall off the face of the earth?
Why did Michael Jackson fall off
well,
the face of the earth?
Well, ask you about that.
Why did Jim Tosh die? Why did Tupac Shakur die? Why did Jimi Hendrix die? Why did Bob Marley die?
John Lennon.
John Lennon. All of these people that can utilise and channel youth energy.
Me and Reg's side project, Phil Aishio and the Smegmatics.
Right.
With all kinds of experimental stuff. It was like The Fall, it was like chaotic discord, it was, oh my.
Phil Aishio and the Smegmatics. Was
Phil
that
Aishio and the Smegmatics,
so is that like an offshoot band of the Bile Ducts?
Yeah, there's recordings of that.
Right. And you were in a band at school. I mean,
The bots.
The bots. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Still got recordings of that. I mean, the
Right.
most famous one, me, Peter Watts, Richard Warburton, in my front room playing I'm Gay. You know, still got that if you want it. Want a copy of that? It's a legend.
Right.
I mean, I even listen to that myself sometimes.
And it's used to make things, which we've all been brought up to love and crave. Black stuff, we worship you. Because the black stuff is so essential to our existence, world leaders like Hillary Clinton use it in a kind of weapon in their game to carry out a highly dubious agenda. You see, it's okay for everyone to have black stuff, but Hillary and her chums say they are not happy because Iran, who have lots of black stuff, is trying to make grey stuff. They don't want Iran to have any grey stuff because grey stuff is used to make nuclear bombs. Only America and their friends are allowed to have grey stuff, and they have more grey stuff than you can shake a stick at. But under no circumstances will America allow Iran to make its own grey stuff, even though Iran has made it perfectly clear it has no grey stuff, nor has any intention of making grey stuff. But Hillary and co don't believe them, or so they say, and a while back told the countries of the world that if anyone continues to buy black stuff off Iran, America will stop buying their things. This is bad because countries like America to buy their things, even though they pay for them with useless pieces of paper. And so it was, until recently when it became apparent that many countries couldn't survive without their black stuff from Iran. There might not be enough black stuff to put in their machines with wheels, and it is costing too many pieces of paper. So Hillary came to the rescue and kindly said that 10 EU countries and Japan could continue to buy black stuff off Iran and America wouldn't stop buying their things. This might sound very trivial, petty and pathetic, and indeed it is, and it's one of the reasons why the black stuff you put in your machine with wheels costs so many pieces of paper.
Starting to become a telegenic media cyborg.
And I just want to give a little analogy of what I think our parliament has turned into. Let's just say you've got a cage with 6 monkeys in it. In that cage, there's a big tower inside it and there's a banana at the top. And one of the monkeys says, right, I'm going to have that banana, and he climbs up the tower, but halfway up there's this invisible force field that gives him a massive electric shock, and he comes tumbling down. And the next monkey thinks, well, I'm going to have a try at that. He tries and the same happens. A third monkey tries, and the other 2 monkeys jump on him and say, no, you're going to get an electric shock. So these monkeys, they just leave it be. They then take one of the monkeys out of the cage and they put a new monkey in. The new monkey sees the banana and he starts going up to get the banana, and the other monkeys, they all jump on him and say, no, don't do that, you'll get hurt, you can't get that banana. So the monkeys in the cage have indoctrinated the new monkey with their doctrine, with their information that they have, that there's a force field there. You then take out another monkey and put a new one in. Same thing happens, that monkey goes for the banana. The rest of them, including the new monkey, he's not quite sure why he's stopping that monkey going to get the banana, but he does it anyway. You replace another monkey, and then you replace them one by one until all 6 monkeys have been replaced. And each new monkey that comes in, they're all jumping on him. Now, you then switch this force field off so they can get the banana, and then you keep sending new monkeys in, and every time they jump on the monkey. So they're acting on false information, and they're all basically indoctrinating each other. The only solution to that system, to allow the monkeys to get the banana, is to replace every single one of those monkeys with a new set of monkeys. And that's what we need to do with our parliament. That ends the first section. When I go along there, I occasionally have a chat with him, and he'll say to me, Richard, there's no conspiracy theory too wild for me. I look at all of them. So he's into the hollow earth theory. Yeah. You've heard of that one. Now, the other one which we were talking about in the pub the other day is and it makes me laugh, not because I have no view on it, okay? I'm a very open-minded person, as I have to be. Yeah. And I recently learned about this particular theory about Paul McCartney. Yes. And I'm not saying that I have any. I don't know enough about it, right? But the theory is that Is it in 1966?
It was just prior to the theory is that just prior to the recording of the Sgt. Pepper album, Paul McCartney died in a car crash.
Paul McCartney died in a car crash. Is that in 66?
I'm not sure.
I'm not saying this is true, folks. I'm saying that this is an alleged
This is the theory.
Right. And then he was replaced with a double.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that there's a series of clues left throughout
right.
Well, there's all sorts. Like
the double was called Fall.
Fall, the fake Paul. Some people
Fall.
suggest that his name was Billy Shields, which is what they say in before Get By With Little My Help From My Friends, the one and only Billy Shears.
Right. Now, and the reason that people give as to why he was bumped off and replaced is because he was not wanting to promote LSD and blah blah blah.
Well, he wasn't
really towing the line. This is the theory, no?
The theory that I heard is that basically he just died in a car crash, and the Beatles were such an enormous entity that from any sort of perspective, that they just had to continue on with it. And again, I'm going to reiterate, I'm not saying that this is what happened, but you could see a plausibility as to why somebody might do that. That's all I'm going to say. What irritates me,
there's loads of stuff on the internet.
Backwards masking and like there's clues in the album covers and stuff like that.
And there's also the clip of Heather Mills.
Yeah.
Who says that, and I know Heather Mills was absolutely crucified in the mainstream media. I don't know what people think of her, but the media did a hatchet job on her. That's for sure. But she says that she's got a box which has got evidence in it, and that she's had death threats to say that she must not reveal this information.
Yeah.
I mean, you came in here and said you fear for your life and for Beatrice's
The police came
life.
round, and this is why I'm speaking about this now, and I have a box of evidence that is going to a certain person should anything happen to me. So if you top me off, it's still going to go to that certain person, and the truth will come out. There is such a fear from a certain party of the truth coming out that lots of things have been put out and done. So the police came around and they said, you have serious death threats from an underground movement.
A lot of people think that the information that she has is proof that McCartney was switched in 1966.